Okay, second take. We had some issues in the first recording session, so I have our guest Lucia here actually for the second time. So in today's episode, we are talking actually more about mobilizing and community building. So Lucia, thank you and welcome to Hack the System.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here and I can't wait to chat.
Let's get right into it. So, you are one of the organizers of My Voice, My Choice, which is a European Citizens Initiative and also an abortion campaign that is now evolving into one of the Europe's largest feminist movements at the moment. So, for starters, can you a little bit tell about yourself and how did you first get involved with My Choice, My Voice, My Choice?
Yeah, so I'm Lucia Borak. I'm a part of the communications team at My Voice, My Choice. And as you mentioned, we're fighting for safe and accessible abortion. I personally do mostly work on social media, and I joined in the later part of the campaign, so the second half, after we already collected about 500,000 signatures. So, yeah, that's it.
So, how has it been organizing the campaign for you until now?
I must say it has been one of the most life-changing experiences because I got to meet so many incredible people, like people I've never thought I could speak to or even meet and work together with. So this has been a massive privilege and it's giving me hope every single day to continue fighting and continue on my activist path.
Is this the first time you're organizing some sort of feminist campaign, or have you been doing some sort of similar things before?
So it's the first time organizing anything at this scale, but I was before a volunteer at some NGOs, also doing social media stuff.
Okay, very cool. So for those listening that are not familiar with the campaign, can you tell a little bit what is it about?
Yeah, of course. So My Voice, My Choice is a European Citizens Initiative. This is actually the only way we can, as citizens, help improve or change the legislation of the European Union. The European Citizens Initiative has two criteria. The first one is 1 million verified signatures. The other is reaching 7 national signature thresholds. And we're fighting for safe and accessible abortion. Why do we think this is vital? It's because in many countries, while we love to think Europe is this progressive, really liberal space, the reality is that many women, around 20 million women, don't have access to safe and accessible abortion. This is really clear in countries like Poland, where abortion is totally banned, and in Malta, where women can get imprisoned for having an abortion, while in some other European countries, the situation is a little bit different, where abortion is legal, but it's not accessible. This is the case in like Italy, where 70% of gynecologists refuse to perform abortions, and in Croatia and some other European countries. There is also a financial burden, which means that while abortion can be legal, can be accessible, it cannot be, you cannot pay for it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is very important to notice that also came really evident to me campaigning in Denmark that especially in Denmark many people have this image that abortion rights is secured across Europe, but that's actually not the case. And I think this also comes as a surprise to a lot of people that the access really varies depending which country you are in and also which part of the country you are in, right? Like maybe if you're in a capital, it's much more accessible, but then you go to the countryside or less populated areas and then you're refused an abortion. So yeah, it's not really evident. And also the potential that these rights could be taken away from us. So it's not like just because I can get an abortion this week, it's not like I can get it next year. So it's also important to
highlight we saw this in USA where they started with overturning Roe v. Wade, and now abortion rights and reproductive rights are slowly, not really slowly, quite fastly taken away from women.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like also this became as a shock to many people how quickly they can be taken away from people, especially in the United States. I don't think anyone could have predicted how fast everything unrolls. So yeah, it's really important that we take this seriously right now, especially far-right parties are also increasing
Yeah.
in Europe. So, but for example, I was collecting the signatures in Denmark, and it was more struggle also because I feel like people are here so privileged and they are so used to that abortion rights are actually really good in Denmark, and it's kind of evident. And then when we were campaigning, people were like, okay, are you anti-abortion? And we're like, no. So also it talks about the privilege of when campaigning, people think that you actually don't need to protest about this. So, but in reality, yeah, we still need to talk about this, unfortunately. But yes,
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing and highlighting those things. So next, a little bit more about gathering the signatures and the volunteers. You mentioned earlier when we were talking that you have more than 2,500 volunteers, more or less, across Europe. So do you want to share a little bit how did this happen and what did you do to actually mobilize this many volunteers?
Yeah, of course. So any kind of organizing or mobilizing is truly a team effort, and I just played a really tiny role in it. And I will talk more about the Safe Abortion Day, which was the first massive offline and online signature collection that happened when I first got and started working at My Voice, My Choice. It was around September, so I believe September 28th is the National Safe Abortion Day. Our idea was quite simple. We realized we needed a lot of signatures and there's no way we could do it on our own. So we decided to mobilize volunteers that would kind of carry the campaign as their own, meaning they would get all the tools, all the tactics to organize their own signature collections and collect the signatures. And we mobilized the volunteers through WhatsApp. So we had multiple channels, so a regional channel for the countries and also an announcement channel. But how did we get people to WhatsApp? We used social media, so our newsletter and as well as Instagram, Facebook, and so forth, where we recruited the people. And honestly, the recruitment part at the beginning was really hard, but then it started to getting easier as we started becoming a bigger organization. And for me personally, it was the most rewarding thing seeing volunteers that truly took the campaign as their own and like collected signatures everywhere from like film screenings of feminist films to like grandmas in Germany. And this was just like such a wonderful moment when I realized that while I thought that abortion rights were a thing that young people, women were really passionate about, I realized that it's truly everyone and that this is like a kind of shared European value that abortion rights should exist and we have to protect them.
Yeah, that's amazing. I feel like abortion rights is also something that touches so many old people because they probably didn't have those when they were
Yeah.
young. So that's also amazing to have that kind of connection between different age groups. So you used awareness days like International Safe Abortion Day, or could be we did something, for example, still in the Women's Day, to mobilize people and create some sort of in-person signature collections. But you kind of gave the volunteers the creativity to create whatever they wanted, right, for a cause that they really cared about. Okay, so I also know you have a massive Instagram following, over 400,000 people. Do you have any insights? How did you manage to get all these followers and become this famous?
Yeah, so the first one is if I jump off volunteers, it's a lot of sharing volunteers that helped with your campaign. So they see themselves, they see they're being appreciated, and that's also a good way to keep the people engaged. The second thing is a very personal and honest approach where we always shared honestly what was happening. So if we felt sad, we said we were sad. If we were happy, we said we were happy. And just kind of removing the kind of formal barrier truly helped us because we don't go to social media to get informed. Well, yes, also, but we mostly do that, go on social media to have fun. So with that, memes helped a lot and truly something people could share and laugh at and have fun and truly enjoy themselves. Nowadays, we also started sharing a lot of more of news because that's also a way to keep people engaged so they actually know what's happening in the world and know how important fighting for abortion rights is at this moment.
Yeah. So mixture of memes, kind of pop culture, informational post, news to get people engaged and sharing. Yeah, that's really, I think, great, because also your Instagram is really like catchy and colorful and kind of engaging in some other ways. Of course, it's nice to get also mix of these to keep people engaged. And you also used some sort of influencers, right? And politicians. Was it hard to get these kind of more famous people involved?
Yeah, so reaching out to like influencer wasn't a part of my job, but I can talk about a few experiences.
Yeah.
Like you have to be prepared to send so many messages to get just one reply. You know, this is a kind of labor intensive part of the reaching out to influencers. But the thing is that for influencers and other people, you cannot treat them as a one-off thing. So we never did paid influencer kind of things. We always used it on a voluntary basis and tried to develop a relationship with people who had kind of like a larger following and so forth. And with them truly owning the campaign as well, it really helped. Like we saw a big difference in the signatures, you know, because sometimes someone with a large following might have shared something that was not so personal. But when a smaller influencer shared, like filmed the story and was like, hey, I had an abortion, this is why this is important, it really showed that people connected and shared the message and the campaign forward. So it's like truly for working with people, it's best to just build a connection and a friendship and go from there.
Yeah, I think that speaks some volumes. So how it's kind of important to find ambassadors who actually share the values. I have
Yeah.
some sort of a message or story and storytelling related to it than just choosing some random footballer or something.
Also, this is a little secret I can share. One of the interesting connections we made was Kevin. He does like cooking content. And he was like, I cook all the time, but I actually really much believe in the values you have. And by bursting out of this feminist pro-choice bubble and like working with someone that shares the same values, believes in the same things, but does a different type of content, we were also able to reach a lot of people, but just like in a different, more exciting way, perhaps.
Okay, that's cool. Who is this person?
I
Some
think it's
chef?
Let's Walk Kevin. I
Okay.
can share the Instagram later.
Okay, can I include this in the podcast or should I cut it?
Yeah, I think you can include it, yes.
I was like, yeah, it's a secret. Like, how secret is it? Okay, but that's really cool. And I think that's also, I mean, evident because you have so many followers that it probably reached people who are maybe don't have a uterus, are not so concerned about abortion
Yeah,
rights, but anyway, it touches them regardless because everybody's related to some person who has a
yeah.
uterus. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are your own learnings from this campaign? Or is there something you wish you knew earlier before organizing this campaign?
Okay, yeah. So perhaps connected with the second point I talked about is burst out of your bubble, do things that you're sometimes afraid to do because sometimes they're the most rewarding things and the things that bring you the most joy and hope. The second learning is definitely the power of hope because so often we like focus on the small thing we're doing and not seeing the whole bigger picture. And you have to remember the power in the small conversations, the power of when you're collecting signatures and a grandma comes up to you and she says like, you're fighting for me. I fought this fight too. And it's like things that's like small things that bring you so much hope. You cannot forget them. And also like the building of community. So just surround yourself with people who actually care for this, that care for you, and together you can bring about like a big change.
Yeah, I can really relate to that. Also, I never done like actually signature collection in person. Obviously, I've gone to protests and stuff like that,
Yeah,
but that's really different experience because you're kind of in big crowd and you're kind of anonymous. Meanwhile, getting the signatures, you actually
yeah,
need to talk to people. So it
yeah,
was really, really more interesting. But it was really motivating as well. And I feel like our group after the action, we were super motivated, like, okay, we should
Yeah,
do more of these kind of things. So it was good that we went outside of our comfort zones. And then I had to
yeah,
talk to strangers, and I was like, oh my God. But yeah, I was told that I will go to
yeah.
hell once, but I mean, hell sounds like a super cool place, to be honest. So
But sometimes I was on the stand in Ljubljana because we had it like all throughout the year, and there are like a few of like bad interactions, but the positive definitely outweighs the negative reactions because like one of our volunteers in Slovenia told me that there was first a grandma who was like a little bit angry about the fact they were collecting signatures. Then they started talking and she changed her mind and changed his mind. And afterwards, it was like this beautiful story. I love it so much. It was like in the middle of September or October, and it was like a little bit cold. So after an hour or two, he went past the I don't know how, past the street again and saw the stand. And he realized that, oh my God, these poor women, they're outside, they're cold. And he went and like bought two to go coffees to them. And this was like such a wonderful story of doing something that makes you uncomfortable and like changing someone's life, impacting their life, and also like getting a small thing in return that brings you so much hope.
yeah, that's so cute. Yeah, changing somebody's mind, that's a big achievement.
Yeah. Because I feel, at least in Slovenia, it's mostly people that don't realize the relevance of the campaign, you know, and once you explain it to them and why it's important, so many people actually listen to you and are down, you know.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I had the same experience that people were like, "Why are you talking about this?" And then we explained like, "Okay, but you probably know that in Poland X, Y, and
Yeah.
Z." And then they're like, "Yeah, of course. Like, so this is super important."
Yeah.
So yeah, that's true. But yeah, talking about that, we know that activist burnout is a real issue. So do you have any tips, or what did you do in your team to avoid burnout during this?
Yeah, so we have a general mindset, and that is a mindset of having fun and enjoying things because just creating a sort of work environment where everyone is a part of the process. They don't feel alone. You truly like have to build a community with the people you work for and care for them. And for me, like I can tell my experience when I started working here in the second part of the campaign, within a few months or even the first month, I realized these people are my friends, and it's so wonderful, like building these friendships and having fun and creating a community. And the second one is definitely rest. Now is the time of summer. So I think every activist who is fighting on the front lines needs to take a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks off to just recharge because every time we rest, we come back stronger.
Yeah, definitely. It's really important. Also to remember to take breaks and take care of your mental health, and yeah, even it's a harsh topic and hard thing to sometimes campaign about, but still, yeah, try to remember that joy is needed, and joy is also a way of resistance kind of
Yeah.
as well. Um, okay, so I know that we are in the kind of end of the campaign right now. So can you tell a little bit more like what happens next and what is happening now?
Yeah, of course. So currently we're getting back the signatures from local authorities, meaning that for My Voice, My Choice, we collected 1,200,000 signatures, but now every single signature needs to get checked by the local authority to confirm that everything is written out correctly. Like we had this weird issue in Sweden where people forgot their middle names because they're used to going by first and last name. So it's like little stuff like that that the local authorities check for, and that's why we also collected so many more signatures that we still reached the threshold of 1 million. And just yesterday, I believe, we got back the verified signatures from Italy, and we got like over 100,000 more signatures than the national threshold, and we were really celebrating and happy. So yeah, now we have about 500,000, like 600,000 signatures verified, and the all the verified signatures are going to come in by late August, early September, preferably, I believe, in August. And after we get all the signatures verified, we'll immediately submit the initiative to the European Commission. And we're planning this on September the 1st. And we really want to have like a big press conference in Brussels, where I'll be also moving to Brussels for the next 6 months, just so we're closer to all the people who make decisions in the parliament and in the commission. And we actually have a bigger chance of the initiative passing. And also we plan on like putting a lot of pressure on decision makers and having fun. And yeah.
So somebody who is living in Brussels, can they somehow come there and get involved or see the conference, or is there anything happening in person there?
We are planning it over the next 2-3 weeks, and as soon as we get the details, we'll notify the people on social media. I don't know about all the events planned, but we'll keep everyone in the loop.
Okay, cool. Maybe I'll do a little summer trip to Brussels. Who knows?
Yeah, you have to.
Okay, that's great. So how I understood, the initiative kind of only invite the commission to take action, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they will take the action. Am I correct?
Yeah, generally, but we're certain they will take action, or we will do everything possible to make that happen. Because yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so that means that we and everybody listening needs to continue putting
yeah.
pressure to them and demand better abortion access. So in that light, is there anything people listening can support you or do in order to give you more recognition or visibility and stuff like that?
So the first thing is you can follow us on social media. We're basically everywhere on Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, LinkedIn, Threads under the username My Voice, My Choice. Will keep you updated on all the stuff. You can also, if you want to be more involved, join our WhatsApp and become one of our volunteers. The third thing is if you want to help our journey in Brussels, you can donate. And the link to that is also in the captions of our social media.
Okay, great. So everyone go support my choice.
Yeah.
And also donate if you can, or if you can't, at least follow and share their posts on social media and keep pressure or the voice going. Okay, thank you, Lucia. This was really a pleasure. And also, I think this recording was better than the first one. So maybe it was meant to.
Yeah, I think so
Thank you
too.
so much.
It was nice chatting with you too.